Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Fatima. Welcome. If you're new around here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It's been a little bit of a minute, you know, I can admit that, but I'm back in the groove and I'm excited to come to you guys today with this Q&A video. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so first things first, Ebony Keys says, will you do any more hair tutorials or natural hair updates? I answered her up here, but I'm going to answer it here as well. The answer is yes. I'm going to be doing more natural hair videos. I won't necessarily say tutorials because you guys know how I feel about tutorials. I just feel like it's oversaturated and there's a tutorial for everything. So I don't feel like you need to see that from me. But what I will share with you is updates on my hair. I'll show you how I'm styling my hair, what I'm using. There will be some product reviews because I don't know if you guys remember that video I made. I'll put it up there when I talked about how I was done with natural hair and I just wanted to kind of talk about faith on my channel. But I said in that video that I may incorporate it back in at a later time. And now is that time because my hair is growing and I've been trying a lot of new products and switching it up. So I'm like excited to talk about hair again. I haven't been excited to talk about hair in a very long time. So now that I am, and now I'm back in the groove of talking about hair because I'm experimenting with my hair, naturally I'm going to come here and share with you guys. So the answer is yes. What I need you to do though, if you have any particular products or questions about my hair that you have questions about or something you want me to review, let me know in the comment section and I'll do those. Okay, next question is from Shelby Henry. She says, I struggle with feeling so bad about myself and beating myself up every time I stray away from God. I become inconsistent or I get distracted or negative thoughts come in and I begin to just doubt myself. And so how do you deal with that? I know God's promises for me, but it's like in that moment, it's almost not enough. I hope that made sense. So that absolutely makes sense. And that's a huge part of the reason why I take breaks whenever I feel the need to here on this channel. Because even though I talk about faith and I talk about God and I have all these different coaching programs and products to help you guys build your faith into walking your purpose, I still struggle. I'm a human being. I still struggle. I still have moments where I'm not consistent. I still have moments where I'm not talking to God the way I should be, where I'm not reading my Bible the way I should be. I'm human, so I deal with that also. What I can say for anyone that may be struggling with that is what I always do when I'm having those moments, those down moments where I'm feeling really disconnected, is I cry out to God. It never fails. Every time when I really go to God and I'm just like, God, I'm back. I surrender this to you once again. If I did something that was sinful, I repent, I ask God for forgiveness. And it's really that simple. Like, it's just knowing that God is a loving God and that he wants to continue a relationship with you. And he's not disappointed in you. He's not upset with you for falling off track or for falling short. He knows that you're going to fall short. That's why he gave us grace. That's why he gave us mercy. And Can says, can you give some tips, techniques on how you keep your mental health in check? Also, what do you do for self-care? So I actually have a video coming up very soon about my self-care routine. So I will be sharing that. But some tips for anyone that is trying to keep their mental health in check. Number one, I would say is prayer. Prayer is huge for me. I use a tool called prayer journaling. If you've never tried it before, I'll link the video up in the corner. But I would definitely suggest starting with prayer or prayer journaling. That's like the best way for me when I'm feeling stressed, when I'm feeling overwhelmed. I pray, I get it out. Something else that I really like doing is meditating. I know there's mixed reviews about meditating when it comes to the Christian community, but I don't meditate to any other God aside from Jesus Christ. That's what I'm meditating. That's what I'm focusing on. And I'm focusing on my mindset and shifting how I feel. So for me, meditation is huge in that regard. Something else that really, really helps me is dancing. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you know I love to have me a good dance party with my niece who's 5 years old, and we just dance. We just shake it off. That's her favorite song. But seriously, that is like one of my favorite things to do. One of my favorite ways to just make sure that my self-care is in check. I think a lot of times people think self-care has to be like bubble baths and yoga and taking a retreat, and it can be those things, but it could also just be being mindful. It could be taking a nature walk. It can be simple stuff. So Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram because I actually talked about this a lot on Instagram last week. So make sure you're following me there whenever I'm sharing my tips and stuff. Okay, so next question is from Anointed Woman and Man of God. Their question is, where are you originally from? New Jersey, Patterson, New Jersey to be correct. Do you have any kids? No. What would you advise someone who just started a YouTube channel, and how do you get more subscribers? Okay, so if you just started a YouTube channel, I would just say some of the main things you should do is just have a clear idea of what you want to talk about. YouTube is very oversaturated with a lot of the same content, so I would just say have an idea of what you want to talk about. Even if you do want to talk about a topic that other people are talking about, that's okay, but just make sure that you're clear on what your focus is and what you want to get out of it, because it is kind of easy to get caught up in numbers and get caught up in what's trendy and Instagram baddie looks and all this stuff. But it's like, are you really passionate about that? Because passion is what's going to continue is what's going to allow you to continue to move forward on those days where you don't want to do it. YouTube takes a lot of consistency, and it's easier to be consistent when you are truly passionate about the topic that you're talking about. We're back and I'm better. Buzzy B says, important question, how are you? How's life? How's your mental health? Hope all is well. Thanks, boo. I really appreciate when you guys ask general questions like this, just like about me as a person. I appreciate you, you loyal sis. But I am doing well. As you guys know, I took a little bit of a breaky break. I don't even want to call them breaks because I really just feel like life is about balance, yin and yang, and I've learned that balance. I've learned that rhythm. I've learned when I'm in a creative space and when I'm in a resting space. And the month of May especially has been a month purely of resting for me, of just slowing down, tuning into myself, tuning into God. And so I just wasn't in a creative space. So I'm doing well though, and thank you so much for asking. How are you doing? How are you guys doing? Buzzy B also asks, what entails getting closer to God, developing relationship with God? I actually have a few videos about that, so I will link those in the little cards up in the corner. I'll put all the videos in the description box also, but I have videos about that, so I won't answer it here. Next question is, how do you wait patiently in your singleness, and what do you do with your time? So that's a great question. And I think I have a video or podcast, because I also have a faith podcast called Soul Beauty Chat. If you guys don't know about it, check it out, subscribe on iTunes. But I made a whole topic about this. I'll link that below if you want more details. But during a time of singleness is really a chance for you to get to know yourself, for you to get to know God deeper. And especially since you asked the question about what does it take to develop a relationship with God, this is the time to do it. That's how you wait patiently. And that's what you do with your time. You can devote it to getting closer to God. So I would encourage you to do the thing. It's from Shiloh 663. And she says, what are signs/traits to look for in a godly man? I thought that was interesting, and when I saw it, the first thing I thought was, you don't look for a godly man, he looks for you. That's like the first thing that came to my mind. And I don't mean that trying to say that in a smart way, like especially if you're new, you may not know my personality and my tone, but I'm very direct. But you shouldn't look for a godly man. A godly man should be pursuing you. He should be showing you that he's interested. And I guess when it comes to traits, particular traits that I would say that are somewhat aligned with the godly man, not always the case. Sometimes men who aren't godly have these traits. Sometimes men who are godly do not have these traits. But some things that stood out in my mind would be someone that obviously has a relationship with God. You know, because this person can be godly. He can have a relationship with God, but maybe he doesn't attend church regularly. Maybe he doesn't believe in waiting until having sex until after marriage, but he can still be godly technically. So I think it's more so like getting clear on like what your standards are. Like I don't think there's like a checklist of this is what a godly man looks like and this is what everyone should strive for if they want a godly relationship. I do think that if you are pursuing a relationship with Christ, it should be one that is upholding his standards and upholding the things that are in the word. But to each his own. I can't tell everybody how to live their life, so to each his own, sis. But that's just my 2 cents on it. Also from Shiloh 663, she says, how do you style your hair? Is it a twist out? What products do you use? I love it. So I'm assuming she's talking about this picture here. I don't know if you guys have seen it on my YouTube page yet. But in that picture, I actually had a wash and go, and I believe that was the wash and go using the flaxseed gel, if I'm not mistaken. And if you guys want to see a video on how I do my wash and go with flaxseed gel, let me know and maybe I'll do it. Okay, so let me hop over to Instagram really quickly because I think I got some questions there as well. So let me just see if I can find them. That is from Hearts of Joy. She says, is there anything surprising that you learned from your break? Also, is there anything else that is surprising that happened to you so far on your soul beauty journey? So this is a great question. If you guys don't know, maybe you're new, welcome. But the Soul Beauty Chat is this platform. It's a space where we come and have honest, vulnerable, authentic conversations about all things faith, soul, and beauty. And at the beginning of this year, I started documenting my personal journey of me stepping out of my comfort zone and really getting to explore my authentic self, becoming my authentic self, honoring and embracing my womanhood. I've been sharing that journey with you guys through vlogs, which has been really fun. I don't know if I'm going to continue them, but I started sharing that journey, so I'll link the playlist in the description box or somewhere so you guys can check it out if you're interested. But one of the most surprising things that I learned in general, I would say on the journey over the little break that I had, is that the work is never really done. You know, I think when I set out on this journey, in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm going to get all this clarity and I'm going to have this clear idea of like who I am and how I'm supposed to show up in the world. And like, I do feel like I have somewhat of a better understanding of who I am, and I'm growing more into myself and as a woman, and just through all of the different changes that are happening in my life. Like, I left my job that I was in love with and I went to a new company. I got a car. I launched my first group coaching program. Like, so much stuff happened around the time that I took that little break. And other stuff that I'm not including, but so much stuff happened that forced me to just like get really introspective and really tune in and look at myself and why I felt the way I felt and why I was showing up in the world the way I was choosing to. And I think one of the most important things that I learned is just that the work is never done. It's always going to be a journey. It's always going to be something that I can improve, something that I can make better. And I just have to show myself grace. And I think that is the most important thing that I've learned so far. Great question. Okay, so this question comes from Dewana Nicole. And she says, how did you start and grow your own brand? So it was kind of unintentional because I started blogging like in 2008, and I just was sharing about me going to school at FIT, which is a fashion school. I started talking about, I used to thrift a lot, and recently I've been getting back into it. Like, this necklace is from the thrift store, the shirt's from the thrift store, these glasses are from the thrift store, girl. But yeah, so I would share like what I would find at the thrift store. I would talk about my hair a lot, but back then I didn't really know of anyone that was like making money from being a blogger. That wasn't like a thing, at least I didn't know of it. So I was just doing it because it was something I was passionate about. And then I started working in the fashion and beauty industry. I started blogging for other people, and then it just kept going from there. So I mean, I don't know if this is very helpful for someone that's trying to start out, but for me, it was a very just like, I'm passionate about it, I'm talking about it, and it just was like a domino effect. I just continued. Crystal Hardy, she says, have you ever had a perm in your lifetime, or did you always have natural hair? I have actually never had a perm. My mother was not having that, but I did have heat damage very, very badly because I used to straighten my hair all the time to fit in. And yeah, so I had heat damage, and I basically had to transition from heat damage hair. So Okay, so the next question is from Chanel Crave Jesus on Instagram, and she asked a very interesting question, which is, what do I do when I am out somewhere and secular music comes on? And I thought that was a really interesting question. I'm not a perfect Christian. I'm not a perfect person. I'm not this super enlightened spiritual being that has all the answers, and I didn't want my channel to come across that way, so I wanted to be very clear that that was not my intention. But during that time when I made that video, when I chose to stop watching Insecure, I was in a place where I was very much trying to uphold that standard of like this perfect person, and I was putting all this pressure on myself to stop doing this and to stop doing that and to stop doing that, and I didn't like how that felt for me. I didn't like feeling as if I was, you know, forcing myself to become this person that, you know, didn't feel necessarily true to me. And so I guess to answer the question, when I'm out somewhere and secular music comes on, I don't do anything. I enjoy the music, especially if it's certain artists. Like there's plenty of secular music that in my opinion is not bad. Yes, there's tons that is very graphic and unnecessary and overly sexual and all of that stuff, and could cause you to stumble on your journey, or at least it can like put you on a path to start stumbling. But there is a lot of secular music that in my opinion is not bad. In my opinion, does not make you any less of a Christian or make you love God any less because you engage in certain types of music. I listen to both. I listen to some music that is like completely distracting and completely like off focus and completely not something that would glorify God. But I also listen to stuff that's just like a lot of older music. I listen to a lot of like Diana Ross and Anita Baker, like stuff like that technically is considered secular, but it's not putting me in a mindset where I'm going to sin. It's not putting me on a path where now I'm opening a door for more sin, versus an artist like SZA or Bryson Tiller. And I'm not saying that these artists are inherently bad. I'm just saying that for me, those are the type of artists that when I listen to them, I'm usually on a path to something that is leading me further away from God, whether it be drinking, whether it be out at a party, whether it be thinking about people from my past or feeling sexual. And it's nothing like, I don't want to make it seem like there's something wrong with these things or that they're bad, but if you're on a journey to get closer to God, they're distractions. They're pulling you away from that goal. So yeah, so when music comes on, I listen to it, I enjoy it. But I would say that I am selective with what I choose to listen to. I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, you should listen to this, you shouldn't listen to that. All of this is like my personal journey, as I said earlier. And I just hope that it inspires you to think differently about your personal journey. So yeah, that's what I do when I'm out and secular music comes on. Yeah. I hope that answers the question. My camera is about to die, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.